girl, you're just on a journey. Like, it's okay. And that's proof that you're moving in the right direction. And while you are in your waiting season, continue to just work on you. How can you continue to become the best version of you? So, when you're in the waiting period and you feel like you don't have much or you don't have things that are coming into your field, it's probably because you're not grateful for what you currently have. Enjoy this time now. Enjoy the downtime. Enjoy the quiet moments. Enjoy the stillness. I'm telling you, because when things pop off, they pop off. Welcome to Let's Just Be Real with me, your host, Marissa Tong. I'm a multi-passionate creative entrepreneur who's on a journey to create my dream life in a world where adulting just gets too real sometimes. On this podcast, we talk about all things beyond surface level to leave you feeling inspired to think bigger, unapologetically prioritize your self-care, and discover your true, authentic self. Think of me as your unfiltered but wise auntie who just wants the best for all of us. So grab your journal or maybe a glass of wine and let's get real. What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Let's Just Be Real podcast. I'm your host, Marissa Tong. Thank you so much for being here. Welcome back. It's been a hot minute since we sat down and had a solo episode. Our last episode was from my summer solstice retreat, and it was a really good conversation with my girl Carly. And then the week after that premiered, it was July 4th week. It was a lot going on. I honestly was very drained and depleted just from traveling, seeing family, seeing friends, working nonstop the week that I was on the East Coast. And then I've just had a lot going on personally, to be honest. Like, it's a hard time. It's a hard time. I think there's a lot going on in the world, and if we're not careful, that can kind of trickle into our own personal lives and our aura. So I've just been really focused on clearing my aura, clearing my energy, making sure that I'm setting boundaries, that I'm showing up for myself, I'm taking care of myself, I'm putting myself first before pouring into others, which is sometimes hard when we are in a position of being a service provider, a facilitator, a teacher, a leader, and you're always in a position where you have to bring value to people, you have to show up for them. People are always expecting something from you. So we have to learn, if you are someone who is a leader, you're in a position where people depend on you for something. It's very, very important to make sure that you are pouring into yourself and filling your cup first. So the last week, I've just been really intentional with like resetting, revamping my routines. I created a nice self-care plan for myself. I literally just went to the store and like bought some canvases, like a whiteboard, and I was like, let me just get creative and like write all these things down that I want to feel and the things that I want to implement so that I can continue to feel my best and show up as my best. And I'm getting really real and realistic, I think, with myself too about what showing up as your best even looks like, especially as an entrepreneur or a business owner. Like, you are not always going to show up as your best, unfortunately. Like, you can't. There's just way too much to worry about, to take care of, to have responsibility for. So it's honestly impossible to always be your best. So I've been very intentional with the way that I show up. So if it's a day where I'm not feeling my best, or I feel like, no, I can't perform, I can't speak, I can't show my face to the camera because I need to take care of like my mental health or things going on in my personal world, then that's okay. And I just have found acceptance in that. And that doesn't mean that I'm still not going to show up in other ways. There's a lot that I do behind the scenes. There's a lot of work that I put in my business that people will never know about or see. And that's okay because I don't need validation through that. So I'm just really learning to be honest with myself in the capacity that I'm able to show up. So that's what's been going on with me before we get into today's episode. Just giving you guys a nice little update, what's been going on with me. But I'm really looking forward to continuing to grow and elevate. I mean, that's something I'm always pushing towards, just being better, feeling better, doing better, showing up for my community, and also building community in a way that it doesn't always depend on me. Like, I want my community to pour into each other, to feel comfortable with reaching out to each other if they need something, to create, meaningful friendships, bonds, relationships. So that's something that is my focus for the rest of the year, just building a nice, solid community online in Jersey and in California. So that's where my focus is right now. But yeah, y'all. So, in today's episode, we're going to be talking about our waiting season. Okay. You might be in this period of your life where maybe you feel like nothing's really happening. Maybe you feel like you've been working towards something or working on something for quite some time. And you feel like nothing's really popping off. Like maybe you're like, okay, I've been working on this thing for the past 2 years. I've been working on this thing for the past 5 years. I've been working on this thing for the past 7 years, and I'm not really in a place where I feel like I should be, or I want to be, or I see other people reaching this level of quote unquote success. I'm saying quote unquote because we don't know what really goes on with people. We see what they show us on social media or whatever, right? But we also don't see sometimes the work that people have been putting in way before the time that they pop off, right? Like when we think about writers, when we think about actors, when we think about people who have been working on their craft and creating for such a long time, and then they don't really get their recognition until later on, right? Or that one thing that they've been working on doesn't really get noticed until years later. Sometimes it could be a decade later. I recently started rereading The Alchemist, which is one of my top, I would say like top 10 books. I read it probably in I want to say 2020 or 2021. And I feel like it's just a book that it calls to you, right? Like, when is the perfect time to pull out The Alchemist. And I feel like right now I am going through that big transition phase of like, okay, we're creating a whole new life, we're creating a whole new identity. It's wildly uncomfortable. Like, there's been a lot of, grieving and self doubt and things like that going on behind the scenes. And I was like, I feel like The Alchemist is a perfect book just to remind me of like, oh, this is normal. Like, girl, you're just on a journey. Like, it's okay. And I think for a lot of us, we tend to forget that we are on a journey. It's a journey. Like, it is not a final destination. You never get to that point where you're just like, okay, I'm done. I'm completely satisfied with my life. I have nothing left to work on or do or to improve, right? Like, I have it all. I am all like, I don't know anybody who gets to that point in life. And maybe, maybe in your 70s, maybe even 60s, I'm not sure, you could definitely reach a point of fulfillment, right? Of feeling like, okay, I made it, right? I did it. Like, I see my work has paid off. But again, that could take a really long time. So when we are in this waiting season, in this waiting period, it's really important for us to, first of all, remember why we're even doing the things that we're doing, right? Does it come back to validation? Are we just seeking validation? Do we just want that recognition, right? That acceptance? Do we want people to just see us and to feel something, right? Are we trying to make people feel something? Or are we trying to actually like make a difference? Are we trying to actually live out our purpose? Are we actually passionate about what we're doing? Are we actually creating from a place of joy and from a place of this is just who I am and this is what I want to do, right? So when we are in that waiting season and maybe we're starting to compare ourselves or compare where we are to other people's journey, again, just come back to your why. Okay. And also, I think it's really important for us to have proof. Have proof, right? Look for proof. Literally look for proof in your life that things are always improving, that things are always getting better. I'm sure that a couple years ago, or maybe even a couple months ago, honestly, like you might have been in a worse situation, or maybe you were in a place a couple years ago where you wanted to be where you are right now. And that's proof that you're moving in the right direction. That is proof that everything is working out for you. Even if you don't see that, even if you don't believe that, even if you don't feel like there's proof in your day to day life, when you look back, if it's your journal entry, that's why like journaling is super, super important and useful because you can literally go back and you have in writing exactly where you were in that place in your life, what you were doing, what you were manifesting, what you were working on. And you can go back and be like, oh shit, like I actually did manifest these things. I actually am doing the things that I wanted to do 5 years ago. Like I'm in this place, right? So having that proof, looking for proof that your life is successful. You are successful, right? And success looks different for everyone. For some people, success might be becoming a mother, becoming a father. For some people, that's something that they've always wanted to do since they were born. Like, oh my God, I definitely want to be a mom. For some people, that is career. I think for most of us, it comes down to money, career, success and what we're doing, what we're working on, right? For some people, it's just creating something that can hold out their legacy, something that can continue to live on even when they're not here. And again, going back to The Alchemist, when I was reading the beginning of the book and the author was talking about his journey with writing The Alchemist and how, it didn't sell and people weren't buying the book. And I think his publishing company like dropped him, and then years later the book just like got into the hands of somebody and it just popped off. So again, it's just one of those things where we have to continue to build faith and trust and just believe that, okay, what I'm doing is not a waste of time. What I'm doing makes sense. What I'm doing is pushing me forward in the right direction. So we just got to keep affirming that. We have to keep telling ourselves that. We have to keep finding proof. Okay, before we get too real into this conversation, I want to interrupt by inviting you to a very special event happening in 2026. I'm so excited to announce the Soul and Senses retreat in Bali, Indonesia. If you've been craving a reset, the kind that nourishes your body, calms your mind, and reconnects you to your purpose, then let me personally invite you to my retreat, Soul and Senses in Bali, happening April 7th to the 13th in 2026. We'll spend 6 nights in 2 luxury hotels in Seminyak, which is a beautiful, lively beach city. And then we'll spend 3 nights in Ubud, which is the jungle. It's spiritual, it's sacred, it's the place where you can really connect with your soul. We'll be surrounded by palm trees, soul-aligned women, and the most beautiful energy that you've ever felt. You'll experience dance, somatic movement, deep stretching on a daily basis, healing and grounding practices, jungle excursions and private cultural tours, meditations, journaling workshops, and spiritual connection. There are plenty of nights where you can have fun and plenty of nights to also unplug. If you're feeling like, low key and you don't feel like going out, that's okay too. Our retreats are meant to help you follow your intuition and really give your body what it's craving at the time. It's safe, it's sacred, and it's exactly what you didn't know you needed. Spots are limited for this retreat and it's going to sell out. So if you're ready to reconnect with yourself in paradise, definitely make sure you go to our website. It's linked in the show notes. Or you can send me a DM saying Bali on Instagram and I'll send you the link to register. This is not just a vacation, it's a soul shifting experience. So if you're ready to step into the next version of yourself and connect with yourself on a deeper level while being in one of the most beautiful places on earth, then I invite you to book today and I'll see you there. And while you are in your waiting season, continue to just work on you. How can you continue to become the best version of you? And when I say best, right, like sometimes that word is like, right, going back to like showing up as the best version of yourself. That's not always possible every single day. Let's just be real, right? But continuing to strive towards being the best, right? That's going to be a daily thing. You're not just going to wake up and be the absolute best. Like it's a freaking process, right? So continuing to work on your physical body, your health, right? Your health is your wealth. So when we are thinking about building wealth, or maybe that's like the number one goal for you, to become wealthy, to become rich, right? The main thing that you need to do is work on your health. Because what's the point of becoming wealthy if you're not healthy? Like, come on, like all that money, yeah, you could use that money to like invest in good supplements, invest in good doctors, invest in healthy foods. At that point, you could probably afford all the organic food and, maybe even a private chef and all that. But it's like, if you're not physically feeling well, physically feeling good inside of your body, even your mind, right? Your mental health is very important as well. So sometimes like we sacrifice our mental health for the sake of getting to a certain achievement, getting to a certain goal, getting to a certain point in our lives. And then we get close to that thing, or we get that thing and we're like, oh shit, like, why doesn't this feel good? It's because you physically don't feel good. It's because your mind does not feel good, right? You're thinking about like the outside. What does the outside look like? What can I get on the outside? What are the material things that I can possess, right? But you're not feeling good mentally, physically, emotionally. And if you don't have that, then you don't have anything. So, again, while you're in that waiting period, continue to work on yourself. Journal, work out, go to the gym, take the dance classes, get outside, get into nature, get some sun, get fresh air, spend time at the beach, go to the water. Like, I don't know. You got to figure out what that looks like for you, where it feels good and it feels, sustainable. Like, we want to create a life that is sustainable. And for a lot of us growing up, especially like millennials, okay, I talked about this in my blog that went out on Hydrated and Thriving on Substack this week, how millennials know how to work. Okay, like we know how to work. We have impeccable work ethic as millennials, okay? And we could probably thank our parents for that, right? Because our parents grew up probably with even better work ethic, right? Where work was everything, right? Where stability was everything. Showing up to work, getting a good job, having benefits, having a 401k, being able to pay for a mortgage, buy a house, have a family. Like that was the dream for most of our parents and our grandparents back in the day. And I feel like that's changed now, right? It's not just about these accomplishments or accolades or having a good 9 to 5 job, because you could have all those things and you could be completely miserable. You could be deeply unhappy. You could be deeply unhealthy. So the things that actually matter are your health, are your well being, are your moments of happiness and joy, are your connections with other people, right? Your communities. Those are the things that actually matter. And I'm not saying that career, money, stability aren't important. They are very important. Like I think that's why most of the population in America is stressed out, because it's like most people don't have the level of stability that they want, or they don't have the career that they want, the community, the relationship that they want, right? Or the life that they thought was promised to them, right? By doing all the things that they thought was going to push them in the right direction. Going to college right after high school, getting a job from, the field that they studied in school, maybe buying the house, right out of college, or getting married or whatever, right? Like this very by the book way of living. And then you do all those things and you're like, this isn't even what I wanted, right? So figuring out what you actually want is key. And then while we continue to work towards those things that we really want in that waiting season and that waiting period, just continue to show up for yourself. Just continue to be grateful. That should be number one, honestly. Like just continuing to show gratitude, express gratitude, and not just like say, oh my God, I'm grateful. Like feel it. Actually feel it. Go through a meditation, put your hand on your heart, breathe, and visualize the things that you currently have. Visualize the people in your life. Visualize the things that actually matter to you, that bring you joy and happiness, that make your heart beat, that make you really, really excited for life. Those are the things that we want to express gratitude towards. So when you're in the waiting period and you feel like you don't have much or you don't have things that are coming into your field, it's probably because you're not grateful for what you currently have. And God is not going to send you more than you can handle. And God is not going to send you more than you can actually be grateful for. So be grateful for what you have. Also, when we talk about putting in the work, putting in reps, and aiming towards that level of success that you want, we have to think about it like the stock market, right? You're going to put money in, you're going to invest money. It's going to compound over time, but you have no control over that, honestly. It's kind of like, okay, like I'm hoping that these things are going to grow for me. I'm hoping that I'm going to see something, right, eventually, but it's like you have no control over that. You don't. It's a risk, right? You put your money in the stock market, you invest, right? You put money out, and it's like, okay, I hope that this works out. Well, your life and the things that you're working on and the things that you're doing, it's the same concept, right? You don't know that the work that you're putting in, I don't know that this podcast, right? Even though there is a level of certainty, and we'll talk about that maybe in another podcast, like faith, certainty, all of that, trust, but there is a level of certainty and trust that you have, right? Like I do have faith and trust in myself. I do have a high belief in myself. Okay. I know that I'm completely worthy of getting the things that I want in my life. And I know sometimes it's going to take time. And I know sometimes things might happen quicker than I expected. And that's okay. However, I detach from outcomes, right? I'm working on that. That's something that I'm constantly working on. Detaching from outcomes. Like, okay, I do this podcast. Am I expecting to get 10,000 views tomorrow? The day that it comes out? Probably not. Am I open to that possibility? Sure. I believe in miracles. I believe that things can happen, right? I do. But I also believe in showing up, putting in the work consistently, just doing things because you enjoy doing it, right? I'm doing this podcast because I like talking. I like helping people out. I like speaking about my experiences. And I know that this is part of my purpose, right? I'm here to help elevate the world, elevate people's consciousness, to make people think about things from a different perspective, sometimes that they're not going to think about, you know? So I know, and I'm very clear on what my purpose is and why I'm doing this podcast and why I continue to show up, even though maybe I'm not in the place where I want to be in the podcasting world. That's okay, right? But again, being able to detach and pull yourself away from those expectations, that's going to help you to continue to show up, progress, continue to put the work in. But if it's constantly like this, I need this to be the situation if I do this. Like life is not always like a give and take and receive and give. Sometimes it's just, you're just going to give and you might not get something in return immediately. Again, sometimes it's going to take years. You don't know when things are going to pay off. So all you can do is stay the course, enjoy the journey, enjoy the ride, continue showing up, have fun, try to have fun while you're doing it. Okay. And stop freaking comparing yourself. Okay. We have so many episodes talking about comparing yourself. Are you ready to dance, sweat, and level up your confidence this summer, all from the comfort of your own home? Well, guess what, baddie? Our online dance and fitness classes are officially live. This means no matter where you are in the world, you can tap into our signature energy, real vibes only. As a member, you get 24/7 access to dance tutorials, full body workouts, stretch sessions, and our growing library of most requested combos. We have over 100 plus videos on demand, so you can do them whenever you want. Oh, and it gets better. Every membership includes a full Rhythm and Pumps Heels Fundamentals course with 10 powerful modules designed to help you feel 10 times more confident dancing in heels or without. So if you're ready to build your skill, your strength, your self-love, your confidence, get into our on-demand programs and memberships. We have 2 memberships available, and you can choose them based on your budget or based on your current goals. You can join Rhythm and Pumps, which starts at only $19.99 a month. This is for the girl who's trying to get into her heels bag, okay? 24/7 access to all of our heels combos, all of our training modules, and choreo sessions. Again, that Fundamentals 101 course is going to be key to starting your heels journey, girl. You also get access to our community group online, so you can hype each other up. You can get notified when we drop new tutorials and all that good stuff. Plus, you're going to get flexibility in core training. Our second membership is our Real Rhythm Unlimited membership. Now, this is our most popular, okay? It is premium and it's only $10 more than Rhythm and Pumps. You get all access training, so workouts on demand with or without weights. You get access to various dance classes and choreo tutorials, including hip hop, heels, and commercial pop, guided meditations with myself, affirmations, all that mindset work that you need to feel your best from the inside to the out. And you also get access to our online community and exclusive live streams every single month. So if this sounds like something you're trying to get into, I invite you to check out our online memberships by heading over to www.realrhythmdanceandfitness.com and check out the special promo code in the show notes for Let's Just Be Real podcast listeners only. You're welcome, and I'll see you online. So if you need a little bit more of a pep talk in that department, definitely go check out previous episodes where we talk about that. And one of the last things that I'm going to say here is you have to use the time that you have now to enjoy the downtime, enjoy the stillness, enjoy the quiet time, okay? Especially if you're someone who wants like a big life, you want a busy life, you want to be in society. Maybe you want to be a public speaker, maybe you want to be someone who travels for work, maybe you want to be someone who's constantly surrounded by others and you're constantly just working on things and putting things out there. Enjoy this time now. Enjoy the downtime. Enjoy the quiet moments. Enjoy the stillness. I'm telling you, because when things pop off, they pop off. And it's not always going to be like a super high moment all the time, and you're going to be in that moment all the time. Like, there are definitely highs and lows in life. I can say that like 2023 was probably like my highest year as far as like busy, being booked all the time, like getting all these opportunities, working with different people, traveling. Like 2023 was like a super busy year for me. And then we have the contrast of like 2024, which like started busy and then like second half of the year just like took me out. Like I was like, I don't know what's going on. Like I knew that it was a point of surrender and that I needed to like sit my ass down and just be still and focus on what I was manifesting, which was like this move to California and expanding my business in different ways, building my team. So I understand it on a spiritual level, but like to someone else, it might be like, oh, damn, like you had a really good year and then things just got like super quiet. But I understand again spiritually that we cannot always be in those high moments. We need to come back down to earth. Okay, we got to ground ourselves. So if you are in this moment right now of like quiet and things are not really like super busy, you don't really see much happening, there's not much movement in your life, again, enjoy that time, take advantage of it, really use this moment to go within, to learn more about yourself. Like, I don't think you should ever feel bored learning about yourself and getting to know yourself and nurturing yourself and parenting yourself and understanding where you're going and what you need to do in order to stay on track. And this is the last thing I'm going to say here, but find people who are on similar paths as you. Find people who are also maybe highly ambitious, if you consider yourself to be highly ambitious, or maybe you want to become a mom and that's something that's just not happening for you right now. Find other people who are also in the same situation, people who want to become a mom, people who want to grow a business, people who want to, I don't know, be a scientist, like whatever it is that you're focused on or you're doing. Find your tribe, find your support, find your community, because it will make it so much, I don't want to say easier, but it will just feel a little bit better, right? It's comforting to know that like, okay, shit, like I'm not the only one that's going through this right now. There's actually this person who's feeling the exact same way, right? And I understand that that's normal. I understand that this is just where I am right now. And then also you need to have people who have already achieved the things, right? Like that's why autobiographies are great, podcasts are great, listening to people's stories are great. I love Substack. It's a lot of like personal essays on there, so I like to read where other people are as well. And then you realize like we are not so different. We are not so different. And it's beautiful. The human experience is very beautiful. And it's always reflecting back at us. So you can find someone who's literally they've done what you're doing. They've tried what you're doing. They have the experience and now they're at this completely different place in their life and you could be like, "Okay, so I'm not so far behind. So this is how it's going to happen and that's okay." Again, find your people, find your support, find your tribe, find the examples of people who have achieved the things that you're working towards. It's going to work out. Okay? We just have to wait sometimes. And if you feel like it's taking much longer than it should, ask yourself why. Ask yourself why. Maybe even ask God why. If you're someone that prays, if you're someone that, is continuing to build your faith, literally just ask God, like, what do I need to either remove? What do I need to change? What do I need to cut off? What do I need to start doing? How do I need to start moving? What do I need to ask for? What do I need to surrender in my life so that I can continue to move in the right direction and see some positive changes in my life? And you can also ask God to just see a sign. God will always send you a sign. So I hope that this was helpful to you today. And I hope that you're feeling a little bit better. If you are in this waiting season and you are just like, what the heck? Like, when is it going to happen for me? Like, what is going on? Stop it. Okay. I get it. Trust me, I get it. I'm someone that's highly ambitious and I'm always like looking for the next, like something. But I also realize that I'm always growing. Things are always working out for me. And I affirm that every single day. If you need to get some post it notes, write yourself some affirmations, put them on your mirror in your bathroom or put them somewhere where you're always going to see them, your desk, dining room, refrigerator, whatever, and just write down these affirmations. I'll give you 3. Okay, so things are always working out for me. I have proof that life is beautiful. I embrace all the challenges that come my way. Okay, those are 3 simple affirmations. And you don't have to write those down, but those could just be 3 that maybe inspire you to come up with something else. So, that being said, y'all, this is going to wrap up today's episode. This is a little bit longer than I would have liked because I'm editing this the same day. It's coming out a little later in the day if you guys are in the on the East Coast or wherever you guys are. But I appreciate you guys so much for tuning in. We have our retreat in Bali coming up. I just announced that last week. So we are heading to Bali for the Soul and Senses retreat in April 2026. We're opening registration early so you have time to prep. You can start looking at flights. You could drop your deposit, make payments over time. You could do a payment arrangement. So this is going to be a beautiful experience. I took a solo trip in Bali in 2023, actually, my year. 2023 was definitely my year. And oh my God, my life was definitely changed after that. Like, that was a time where I really got in tune with who I was and where I was going. And I think being in Bali too, you just see life in a different lens. The people there are very happy, very hospitable, very kind. It's a slower pace of living. It's not super crazy. The nature is unbelievable. Just a very special place. Very spiritual, very magical place. So everyone has their intention for going to Bali. So if you feel called, right, Bali has to call you in. It's a place that it got to be the right time for you to go. You don't just go to Bali like just because like, oh my God, everyone's going to Bali. You have to intentionally want to be there. So if Bali is calling you right now and you're like, yes, this is the place I need to be, it's also like a big leap of faith to take such a long distance big trip like that, it's a leap of faith. Most people are very comfortable with doing just like 5, 6 hour, maybe 4 hour flights. Maybe you've never traveled outside the country before. If you haven't and you're planning on going to Bali, definitely work on getting that passport now. Okay, especially if you're in the US, work on getting that passport, child. But for some people it's like that's a stretch. And when we stretch, the things that we do, and we expand our capacity and we do things that we never thought we could do, that builds faith, that builds confidence, that builds trust in ourselves. So if you're ready for that next level of faith, confidence, and trust in yourself, then I invite you to come on the Soul and Senses retreat with me in Bali, April 2026. So you can get all that information in the show notes. I'll link everything for you guys. You could check it out. And yeah, y'all, thank you so much for being here. If you're listening on Spotify, if you guys are listening on Spotify or Apple, make sure you rate and review the podcast. And if you're watching on YouTube, hit that like button, subscribe to this channel, drop a comment, let me know what you're waiting for, what you're working on right now. What season are you in? Like, are you in blooming season? Are you in the waiting period? Are you in a quiet season? I want to know where you are, and I want to know how you feel. So let's continue to grow this community together. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you guys in another episode. Bye.